Hi, everybody. Hello, world. I'm live a little bit earlier than I thought I would be going live, but hey, why not? It's been raining here well, not so much on the balcony, but right out there. I'm sure you can hear it. And so I thought, what gift. What a gift it is to hear the raindrops. What a gift it is to, let me get a hair thingy so that I don't keep yanking at my hair. Been weird to be without a haircut for so long. But what a gift it is when we don't look at something as an interruption, when we don't look at something as a wrongness, when we don't look at having to contort ourselves to have something outside of us fit whatever it is that we think ought to be. There's such a gift in that, and there's such a beauty in that, and there's such an ease in that. And I am grateful for it. So yes, there is a blink, 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 blink of the rain, and who knows if it's going to get stronger or not. But I'm actually willing to receive the contribution of the rain and the contribution of the weather and the contribution of everything. I've got some friends who are out in California asking for rain. Well, what if these raindrops that are playing here, being heard anywhere and everywhere, would be a contribution to them as well? So what am I live for? I'm live for so many different things. It's just so exciting. I haven't done solo flying for a little while, because I've been playing with my friend Rihanna, and I've been playing with my friend Helen, and they're amazing, and I love creating with them. And I also like to have my 2 cents periodically. So that's what we're doing right now. And I was wondering, I have a Facebook group where I do read alouds periodically when inspiration strikes, etc. And I just haven't felt like it. Quite honestly, I just haven't felt like it at the moment to sit down and just like deep delve in a book in that way, in that format. So it's like, wow, what would be a contribution? What would be a gift? What would be fun for me? And what would be a contribution in the rest of the world? And being present is something that has come up in my universe so many times. The unwillingness to be present with what is, the trying to get everybody else to be and to show up, and to have to fulfill me rather than, or whatever my idealized version of the world is, rather than just being with what is and being with what is present and being present with what is, and not having to have any walls or barriers or instruction manuals or anything, just being willing to be present. And it's such a different energy, and it is such a different space. I'll come a wee bit closer. And I was making my bed and looked over to the bookshelf that has like all of my favorites, self-help and all sorts of other, like exploration books, not novels, etc., but all sorts of fun stuff. And my eye stopped here. And this is a book I have not read in probably 15 or 20 years. And it's not exactly a, super long book, as you can see. It's something that's really easy and really quick to read, and has a really interesting message as well. Now, I had gotten this years ago when we used to do trainings on the 1-minute manager, etc., way before Access. This is part of what has brought me right here and right now to be present. Oh, and yeah, that was the other thing that binged in my world. So I love the tools of Access consciousness. I love the reference materials. I love the manuals. I love the classes. I love the books. I love all of it. It is change the way I see what's available on the planet. And one of the things, I'm just going to read for you a little quote. A lot of people say the past is history, the future is a mystery, today is a gift, and that's why they call it the present. But Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, does it a little bit different. So he says the past is history, the future is a mystery, and you're a gift when you're present. And how often are we not willing to be present in our lives? How often are we having life happen to us rather than being willing to be fully present, vulnerable with what is and what's going on, and from there being able to choose what's going to work for us? So I'd like to read the book for you, if you don't mind. It's a lot of fun, actually, to be able to explore what is present for everyone. So, The Precious Present by Spencer Johnson. Once there was a boy who listened to an old man and thus began to learn about the precious present. It is a present because it is a gift, the contented man explained, and it is called the precious present because it is the best present of all. When the boy asked why, the old man explained, "Yep, tú eres el regalo cuando estás presente. Así es. I just see it say Facebook user." I just wanted to say when you give StreamYard permissions to be able to see your name, then I'll be able to see your name. Otherwise, you're a cute gray circle and it says Facebook user. It is a present because it is a gift, the contented man explained, and it is called the precious present because it is the best present of all. When the boy asked why, the old man explained, "It is the best present that a person can receive because anyone who receives such a gift is happy forever." "Wow," the little boy exclaimed. "I hope someone gives me the precious present. Maybe I'll get it for Christmas." And the boy ran off to play. The old man smiled. He liked to watch the little boy play. He saw the smile on the youngster's face, and he heard him laughing as he swung from a nearby tree. The boy was happy, and it was a joy to see. The old man also liked to watch the boy work. He even rose early on Saturday mornings to watch the little laborer across the street mow the lawn. The boy actually whistled while he worked. The little child was happy, no matter what he was doing. It was indeed a joy to behold. When he thought about what the old man had said, the boy thought that he understood. He knew about presents, like the bicycle that he got for his birthday and the gifts that he found under the tree on Christmas morning. But as the boy thought about it, he knew the joy of toys never lasts forever. The boy began to feel uneasy. What then, he wondered, is the precious present? What could be so good, so much better than any other present, that it is called the precious present? What could possibly make me happy forever? And he found it difficult to even imagine the answer. And so he returned to ask the old man, "Is the precious present a magical ring? One that I might put on my finger and make all my wishes come true?" "No," he was told. "The precious present has nothing to do with wishing." As the boy grew older, he continued to wonder. He went to the old man. "Is the precious present a flying carpet?" he inquired. "Or one that I could get on and go any place that I liked?" "No," the old man quietly replied. "When you have the precious present, you are perfectly content to be where you are." Now that the boy was becoming a young man, he felt a bit foolish for asking, but he was uncomfortable. He began to see that he was not achieving what he wanted. "Is the precious present," he slowly ventured, "a sunken treasure? Perhaps rare gold coins buried by pirates long ago?" "No, young man," the old man told him, "it is not. The richness is rare indeed, But the wealth of the precious present comes only from itself. The young man thought for a moment, and then he became annoyed. You told me, the young man said, that anyone who received such a present would be happy forever. I never got such a gift as a child. I'm afraid you don't understand, the old man responded. You already know what the precious present is. You already know where to find it. And you already know how it can make you happy. You knew it best when you were a small child. You've simply forgotten. The young man went away to think, but as time passed, he became frustrated and finally angry. He eventually confronted the old man. If you want me to be happy, the young man shouted, why don't you just tell me what the precious present is? And where to find it? The old man volleyed. Yes, exactly, the young man demanded. I would like to, the old man began, but I do not have such power. No one does. Only you have the power to make yourself happy, the old man said. Only you. The precious present is not something that someone gives to you. It is a gift that you give yourself. The young man was confused, but determined. He resolved to find the precious present himself. And so he packed his bags. He left where he was and he went elsewhere to look for the precious present. After many frustrating years, the man grew tired of looking for the precious present. He had read all the latest books, and he had looked in the Wall Street Journal. He had looked in the mirror and into the faces of other people. He had wanted so much to find the precious present that he had gone to extraordinary lengths. He had looked for it at the tops of mountains and in cold, dark caves. He had searched for it in dense, humid jungles and underneath the seas. But it was all to no avail. His stressful search had exhausted him. Occasionally, he even became ill, but he did not know why. The man returned warily to the old man's side. The old man was happy to see him. They often smiled and occasionally laughed out loud together. The young man liked to be with the old man. He felt happy in his presence. He guessed that this was because the old man felt happy with himself. It wasn't that the old man's life was so trouble-free. He didn't appear to have a lot of money. He seemed to be alone most of the time. In fact, there was no apparent reason why he was so much happier and healthier than most people. But happy he was, and so were those who spent time with him. Why does it feel so good to be with him? The young man wondered. Why? He left wondering. After many years, the once young man returned to inquire further. He was now very unhappy and often ill. He needed to talk with the old man, but the old man had grown very, very old. And all too soon, he spoke no more. The wise voice could no longer be heard. The man was alone. At first he was saddened by the loss of his old friend, and then he became frightened, very frightened. He was afraid he would never learn to be happy, until he finally accepted what had always been true. He was the only one who could find his own happiness. The unhappy man recalled what the happy old man had told him many years ago. But as hard as he tried, he could not figure it out. He tried to understand what he had heard. The precious present has nothing to do with wishing. When you have the precious present, you will be perfectly content to be where you are. The richness of the precious present comes from its own source. The precious present is not something that somebody gives to you. It is something you give to yourself. So the unhappy man was now tired of looking for the precious present. He had grown so tired of trying that he simply stopped trying. And then it happened. He didn't know why it happened, when it happened. It just happened. He realized that the precious present was just that, the present. Not the past and not the future, but the precious present. And he realized that the present moment is always precious, not because it is absolutely flawless, which it often seems not to be, but because it is absolutely everything it is meant to be at that moment. In an instant, the man was happy. He realized that he was in the precious present. He raised both hands triumphantly into the cool, fresh air. He was joyous for one moment. Then, just as quickly as he had discovered it, he let the joy of the precious present evaporate. He slowly lowered his hands, touched his forehead, and frowned. The man was unhappy once again. Why, he asked himself, didn't I see the obvious long ago? Why have I missed so many precious moments? Why has it taken me so long to live in the present? And as the man remembered his fruitless travels around the world in his search for the precious present, he knew how much happiness he had lost. In the past, he had sensed what he thought was imperfect in too many moments. He had not experienced what each special time and place had to offer. He had missed a great deal, and he felt sad. The man continued to berate himself, and then he saw what he was doing. He observed that he was trapped by his guilt about his past. When he became aware of his unhappiness and of his being in the past, he returned to the present moment, and he was happy. But then the man began to worry about the future. Will I, he asked, be able to know the joy of living in the precious present tomorrow? And then he saw he was living in the future and laughed at himself. He listened to what he now knew, and he heard the wisdom of his own voice. Is it wise for me to think about the past and to learn from my past, but it's not wise for me to be in the past? For that is how I lose myself. It is also wise to think about the future, to prepare for my future, but it is not wise for me to be in the future. For that too is how I lose myself. And when I lose myself, I lose what is most precious to me. It was so simple. And now he saw it. The present nourished him. But the man knew it was not going to be so easy. Learning to be in the present was a process he was going to have to do over and over, again and again, until it became part of him. And now he knew why he had enjoyed being with the old man. The old man was totally present when he was with the younger man. The old man was not thinking about something else or wishing that he were somewhere else. He was fully present, and it felt good to be with such a person. The younger man smiled at himself the way the old man used to smile. He knew, I can choose to be happy now, or I can try to be happy when or if the man chose now. And now the man was happy. He felt at peace with himself. He agreed to savor each moment in his life as perfect, the apparently good and the apparently bad. Even if he didn't understand for the first time in his life, it didn't matter. He accepted each of his precious moments on this planet as a gift. I know that some people choose to receive the precious present when they are young, others in middle age, some when they are very old, and some people sadly never do. I can choose the precious present whenever I want. And as the man sat thinking, he felt fortunate. He was who he was, where he was, and now he knew he would always be who he was, where he was. He listened again to his own thoughts. The present is what is. It is precious, even if I do not know why. It is already just the way it's supposed to be. When I see the present, accept the present, experience the present, I am well and I am happy. Pain is the difference between what is and what I want it to be. When I feel guilty over my imperfect past or I'm anxious over my uncertain future, I do not live in the present. Then I experience pain, I make myself ill, and I am unhappy. My past was the present, and my future will be the present. The present moment is the only reality I ever experience. As long as I continue to stay in the present, I'm happy forever, because forever is always the present. The present is simply who I am, just the way I am right now. And it is precious. The precious present is something I can give to and receive from myself. For I am precious. I am the precious present. The man smiled, and then he grinned. It was as though he could hear the old man talking. And then his grin widened, and he laughed. He felt a great joy. He knew he was listening, not to the old man, but to himself. It felt good for him to be with himself, just the way that he was at that moment. He felt he had had enough. He felt he knew enough. He felt he was enough now. He had finally found and accepted the precious present, and he was completely happy. Several decades later, the man had grown into a happy, prosperous, and healthy old man. One day, a little girl came by. She liked to listen to the old man, as she called him. It was fun to be with him. There was something special about him, but she didn't know what it was. And on one special day, the little girl began to really listen to the old man. Somehow she sensed something important in his calm voice. He seemed very happy. The little girl couldn't understand why. How could someone so old, she wondered, be so happy? She asked, and the old man smiled, and then he told her. All of a sudden, the little girl jumped up and squealed with delight. As the girl ran off to play, the old man smiled, for he heard what she had said. Wow, she exclaimed. I hope someday someone gives me the precious present. Now, funny, I haven't looked at this book seriously since, well, definitely since we moved here for a few years ago, but it's interesting because it wouldn't necessarily be the languaging, the way that I speak now, but it is such a gift because most of us are not willing to be here and now in our life, in celebrating what is right now. We're so worried about beating ourselves up for what was or what could have been or what may be that we forget to actually be present, be fulfilled with what is, be grateful for what is, and enjoy what is. And then from that space, when we're willing to be fully present, as Gary was saying, I'm going to go back to his quote because I absolutely loved it. So there's the present, as we say, the present being now, the here and now, these 10 seconds. If you haven't read the book, 10 Keys to Total Freedom by Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here, it's based on a telecall and it's brilliant. They are the quote unquote 10 commandments to life and living, to having more ease, to having more gratitude for your life, to enjoying everything more, enjoying you more, enjoying being more. And they're such pragmatic tools really for what is. And key number three is choose your life in 10-second increments. As you cannot be worried about the past and you cannot be worried about the future if you're choosing your life 10 seconds at a time. When you choose it 10 seconds at a time, you are here and now. and you are choosing whatever creates greater here and now. It could be anything, but it is here and now. You're no longer looking backwards. You're not trying to drive your car forward while looking at the rearview mirror and then smacking into, I don't know, great big oak tree or something else, or going off the side of the road. You're willing to be fully present and choose 10 seconds at a time. Who cares if you make a choice that doesn't feel so amazing, that doesn't necessarily turn out how you may have enjoyed? That's okay. You can choose again. If a choice is only good for 10 seconds, oh my goodness, you could choose again, and you could choose again. You do choose again and again and again and again. And that choosing is actually living in your world, because you get to choose and you choose and you choose and you choose and you choose. And you don't beat yourself up. You don't punch yourself in the face for something you'd chosen before. It was what it was. And it brought you to right here and right now. So yeah, you could look at the past and go, oh my God, I didn't choose. Oh my God, I wasn't being me. Oh, that's so terrible. Or you could just say, it was what it was. And now what can I choose? And so that's a gift of living in 10-second increments. That's a gift of choosing your life in 10-second increments, because there is no past, there is no future, there's just now and now and now and now. And most people are not willing to be so present and so aware that anything and everything is available to them. The more present you're willing to be in your life, and the more aware of everything, when you're present, when you're truly present in your life, and this is the difference. So there's the time version, right, which is what this book was about, appreciating the here and now and where you are and all that, which is where people generally say the past is history. Let bygones be bygones and whatever else. The past is history. The future is a mystery. And today is a gift. And that's why we call it the present. And that's the energy that this book was written from. And look beyond that. The past is history. The future is a mystery. Sure enough. And you're the gift when you're present. How often are you willing to be so present in your life that you can perceive everything, you can receive everything, you can be anything? Perceive, know, be, and receive. And you know everything. Everything's available to you right here, right now. You become so aware, you're almost led by consciousness, by the planet, by joyful children next door screeching, by everything. See? And yeah, it is Kaylee. No. So the gift is when you're willing to be yourself, when you're willing to be present. Now, being present, so that's been really interesting. So I'm with Rihanna. We're doing a 7-week series about being present, being potent, being powerful, and living beyond distractions. And so that's been a real exploration, because we tend to live as if the world is happening to us. We tend to live reacting to other people's points of view, to other people's judgments, to other people's preferences, to other people's everything. And we keep acting or reacting to all of that rather than choosing, what would I like? What works for me? What's light? Just now, just in these 10 seconds, if we're willing to be totally present. Yesterday, I drove my son to a store, and I had no clue how to get there. But I was just like, would it be basically in this direction? I mean, I knew it was a basic general area. I just didn't quite know how to get from point A to point B. And yes, I could have put on Waze, but I didn't feel like it. And I was just like, I'm just going to drive this way. And I did. I took a different route than I would typically take. And I drove that way. And funny enough, I was led right there. When you're willing to follow the lightness, when you're willing to actually lower barriers enough, lower all those points of view and all those judgments and all those thoughts and all those other things, and just be present. It's not that it's being still, because it's not still. It's just not being on this hyperdrive of trying to be so involved in anything and everything. It's not um, um, that's interesting, because a few things have popped in my head, and I'll explain those. I mean, that's where I'm functioning from right now. So one of the things that I love about Gary is that he's willing to wedge anybody. And Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, so he's willing to, pull somebody's undies enough to make them uncomfortable and have it, kind of burn a little bit, so that they can ask a question and choose to create from a different place. And, we jokingly refer to that as, a shit stirrer, somebody who's willing to stir the pot. When you stir the pot, things don't just settle in the bottom. And yet, there's another kind of energy. Sorry, kitty cat, we have to accommodate. The other thing is, for example, with a mud puddle. If you've seen a puddle or a little lake or anything like that, usually the bottom is like muddy, sandy, mucky, right? And whenever we get super involved, and this happens with a lot of thoughts, feelings, emotions, all sorts of stuff that we get wrapped up in, we keep going over them, we keep trying to solve them. Oh my goodness, what clearing or what tool could I use here, or what, fix me, there's something wrong with me, and we keep going over and over and over and over and over and stirring that up, and all we get is a goopy, mucky, muddy mess, rather than stepping back for a moment and going, oh, what space can I create here? What if I just step back, if I just allow this to be, if I don't try to fix anything, if I let it be what it is, then if I take a step back, what else is possible here? I love that question. What else is possible? One of my favorite questions. And the other one is, what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracle, possibility, or just simply, what energy can I be? What space can I be? What consciousness can I be? To have clarity here, to have clarity and ease here with whatever this is. Clarity and ease, hands off. Things change naturally. Things are always in movement. I can definitely ask for something specific. I can ask for, fire to go around my home rather than hit it. Generally not from a lot of vested interest, but just I could ask for things to work with me. The universe truly does have our back. So I can definitely ask. And at the same time, if I'm willing to see what is, and not have to be in a constant state of fight and conflict, I'm not bringing up all that muck, and things begin to settle. The water on top of that puddle or of that little lake becomes clear, because I'm not rousing up everything that's there on the bottom. And that's a bit of an antithesis to most of the stuff that we do in pretty much everything. When you realize that there is nothing wrong with you, you can choose greater at any time. You can choose to go beyond the stream and the puddle and everything else. You are not at the effect of any of it. If you are present and you're willing to ask, there's nothing that has to be fixed. You're the one who gets to choose your own happiness. You're the one who gets to choose what's going to create more ease, more joy, more clarity, more lightness, more brightness in your world. And I had a conversation with someone today, and there was so much fixing of the past in their universe. And that's okay. I spent many years fixing the past, spent 15 years in therapy, until I started to get, and even after the access tools, there is a relaxation in my world now of everything shifts, everything changes. I could fight it, or I could just step back, expand, have clarity, and ask. When you're willing to be present, you're actually honoring the fullness of you. And when you're willing to be that fullness of you, anything and everything is available. So I saw something today in the reference materials. This is funny because I'm like gathering things up from different places. And the reference materials, in case you didn't know, when you take Access Consciousness classes, you take the foundation class, you can buy the reference materials for the foundation class, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. When you take the Choice of Possibilities class, you can actually purchase all of the reference materials for all the years past of the Choice of Possibilities, or previously they were called Level 2 and 3. And also all of the foundation reference materials. And there's so many golden nuggets in there. There's so many awarenesses. There's so many really, really, really cool things. So I'm just going to read this little snippet that I saw after my session with someone today. And it was such a gift for me to see. I thought it may be a gift for you too. So VVRs, as they're referred to here, those are vibrational virtual realities. How many vibrational virtual realities do you have telling you that something special has to happen before you can choose, and before you can change? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. With an infinite being like you. That's really who we be. We are infinite beings. We're not limited, tiny, just here and just now. We're actually infinite beings. With an infinite being like you, once you let go of limitation, you just show up as an infinite being. There is no mantra or process required. You are that, and you choose from that. Why would you choose less than that? Everything you've chosen in your life that isn't something you necessarily wanted, it's where you or something told you this is the greatest choice that you can have. And that's what you were choosing. VVRs, vibrational virtual realities, are a big part of what told you that. If you always put your energy towards the past, trying to fix and to change it, then you can never be present and look forward so that you can create what you'd like to create. And I love that. Vibrational virtual realities, to me, are what we think is real on this planet. What looks like reality may not be so real like we think it is. It sure does. I mean, it feels real. But the VVRs is kind of like the holodeck on Star Trek, if you've watched that. They'd go into the holodeck and something would be like screened three-dimensionally and they would participate in it, and they thought they had to overcome things. They had conversations with things. They had all of this stuff that feels so real at the moment. Is it? I wonder. What if it isn't? What else is available? What else is possible that we've never actually considered? And there's a huge difference between choosing something as a Band-Aid slap on, gotta use this to fix me, oh my God, give me the next process, or what's gonna expand my reality? So there are processes, and there's the mantra of Access Consciousness, which I love. Let me find it. The mantra of Access is, all of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. All of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. All of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. And when I was first given this tool in 2011, I would use it as a, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, fix me. There's something wrong with me. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Oh my God, oh, this is so terrible. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. There wasn't this relaxation, presence, trust in me and in being an infinite being. There was a, what can I use to fix me? And as I read, there's nothing that's required to fix you. You do not need anything. Please get that if you like. I mean, you don't have to. You are not as fucked up as you think you are at all. There is nothing wrong with you in any way, shape, or form. So it isn't about having to fix. This isn't about there's something wrong and it has to be repaired. And then you have to go on this perennial journey where you have to constantly be fixing yourself. No, you don't. That's the biggest lie on the planet. You do not have to constantly be worried about fixing yourself. You can, however, choose greater. You can choose to be happy right now. And you can choose to keep asking for what's going to create greater here. What will bring me more ease here? What will be more fun for me here? And that energy with the mantra for me is one that's expanded the world exponentially, because then it doesn't function from our brain, from the limitation of what we think generally stink. It comes from wonder, from joy, from choice, from a different way of functioning in the world. And you know, I've come to recognize the gifts of these different tools and these different explorations that I've done through the years. And the more I see around me, the more I look out at Mother Nature, stormy or not. Some people may look out and go, oh my God, it's been raining for several days straight. That's terrible. We've got to look for a sunny day. Where can you enjoy the rain? Where can you allow the raindrops to come and play in your universe? Where can you ask to receive a contribution that goes way beyond the limitation of what you think it may? What else is possible we've never considered and we've never allowed and we've never ever even acknowledged? So Dr. Dane here had done a live just a little bit ago, but since I was on a session, I only caught the last couple of minutes, but I saw some people's comments afterwards. So if you're not part of it yet, you may consider. Might be fun for you. It's called the 14 million billion year monthly program, something like that, where he does Facebook Lives a couple of times a month, and it's a lot of fun. But see, that's what I mean. That's choosing for fun, not choosing from fear. Fear is not real. It's a distractor implant. And same with guilt and blame and shame and doubt, all of that stuff. Don't believe me? Maybe pick up a copy of Living Beyond Distraction. Won't be any fun for you at all, eh? So Living Beyond Distraction is a book based on a telecall series. If you would like to join Rihanna and I, we have fun on Tuesdays going through not so much the book now, but more elements of how to recognize, how to go beyond the distractor implants. Because when we're in distraction, we're not being present. So fear isn't real. Some people call it false expectations appearing real. What if it's, misidentified excitement? What if it's this thrill that's been lumped into there's something wrong? And what if there isn't anything wrong? And there's nothing to fix, and there's nothing to miss out on. How could an infinite being ever miss out? Someone had wondered about the astrophotography pictures that Dr. Dane takes. He's got a beautiful telescope, and he stays up at night and he photographs the universe. And I was thinking about that. There's so much beauty out there, and we're so willing to see the beauty anywhere outside of us. What if we'd recognize that if we can see it out there? This took me many years, guys. If we see it out there, we be it in here. Yeah. There is nothing that's out there that you're not actually projecting out. So if you see it out there, if you admire it in any way, shape, or form, you be it. So what beauty are you so willing to see everywhere outside of you that you haven't yet acknowledged, celebrated, or even maybe lifted the lid and peeked? You know, what gift are you that you've been looking for everyone else to give to you that you haven't acknowledged you already be? Is when you're willing to be you, and when you're willing to be present, everything begins to unfold. So this kind of went about in all sorts of ways, but it ties into a beautiful class that I'll be facilitating with my friend Dr. Helen Gitlovich next week. Almost at this time, a few hours earlier. But next week, next Thursday, we're facilitating a class called The Wealth of Being. And that is the invitation. Being. When you're willing to be fully present, when you're willing to recognize the gift that you be, there is prosperity, abundance, richness, wonder, possibilities beyond your wildest dreams. And it begins with you being you. Not hiding, not tucking any of that stuff away, not looking to be filled from the outside, beginning to celebrate and recognize that within you. So my invitation for you is to begin to get present with you and to begin to recognize that there is a gift there, a huge gift there that you may not have recognized up till now. But if you're willing to just be, no barriers, no barricades, just be present with you. What else is possible? What can you find? What can you play with? What can you expand? What contribution are you? And what contribution can you receive by being the fullness of you? Ooh, not going to do that one yet. ADD brain. So thank you for being here, and now in the future, whenever. And how does it get even better than that? Bye.